I do this very hesitantly, but it's for the better understanding of the viewers. There's a Tarama Murti in front of me, which has been there for all our episodes pretty
Yes.
much now. This is a Tibetan statue of Tarama.
Right.
I showed it to Palga Rinpoche.
Hmm.
I showed it to Palga Rinpoche, who is a Buddhist monk who's been guiding me and teaching me about that school of thinking. And they have their own version of Tantra. It's called Buddhist Tantra,
Yeah.
Tibetan Buddhist Tantra.
Vajrayana.
Yeah.
Hmm.
When I showed him this statue and I pick it up with respect, he explained the meaning of the statue. But more interestingly for the viewer, he lifted it upside down and here we have a symbol. I don't know, is the camera catching it? It's catching it. There is a symbol right here. And then he did this. He kind of shook it. And he said that in Tibetan Vajrayana Buddhism, they actually put scrolls inside where they write mantras on those scrolls.
Okay.
And when he saw this, he lifted it up. He said, okay, this one is definitely fully charged. And my only reason for bringing this up is to explain yantras better and to explain that Tantra is not just limited to India or Hindu thought. Tantra, of a version of it, has developed in the Gulf, in Africa, in Tibet, in South America, in North America.
Well, there is a version, there are certain practices, let's put it this way, there are certain practices developed in different places which have similarities to our Tantra sadhana. That we can say. And the Tibetan Vajrayana practice, to my knowledge, I have limited knowledge, I don't practice Vajrayana. So they had sort of the same geographical area where it kind of started off. Okay.
Which is North India.
North India, more Eastern India. Okay, towards the Bengal side, the Pala Empire, we had kings who were both Buddhists and Hindu at the same time. They used to encourage both practices. Okay, there was the Nalanda and other places, and then eventually historical things happened and all that, and they had to the monasteries were broken and they had to shift to Tibet, and then they perfected their practices, and of course it diverged at the philosophical level. There is a divergence because Buddhism has its own philosophical path, whereas Hinduism Dharma has its own slightly different philosophical understanding of these things. But yeah, that is also Tantra sadhana. That is Buddhist Tantra.
Okay. You know how we said Tantra means technique. So I'm sure like the way it's developed in the Gulf or Africa, they have their own set of techniques that they probably call a different name or anywhere all over the world.
Yeah.
Because the human story is extremely old. If you look at it from a very macro point of view, I think it's confirmed that the first human being there's evidence related to this. The first human being walked the earth 2 lakh to 3 lakh years ago.
Okay.
Somewhere in that timeline. That's a very long time for occult techniques to develop.
Right.
Things that take you beyond this realm. Because even a hunter-gatherer who didn't have a place to stay, who went from one place to another, at some point would have thought, why am I here? Why am I born into this realm with these blue skies and these green trees? And then had questions about himself or herself. That's where religion, spirituality, and therefore the occult techniques began. Am I right to say all this?
In a way. Okay. If I phrase the same thing, so there is a certain organic development of tantra like practices in different places. So I would not always use the word tantra for the simple reason is more of a sense of respect for that culture because they may have their own word for it. And remember this, that whenever there's a technique that comes, a technique also is accompanied by certain philosophy that's embedded in the technique, and that philosophy, that specific culture, that people is also going to mold that practice to their understanding. And that is human. That is perfectly all right. That is the way it is to be done. Okay. So there may be religions that will consider tantra to be completely black magic. Okay. So you cannot, without their approval, you cannot use the word directly that, okay, you are also doing tantra. Tantra has a very positive connotation in our space, even though even within broad Hinduism, people have all sorts of ideas about Tantra. Thankfully, it is changing a bit. In Tibetans also, they call it Tantra. I guess they call it Tantra Vajrayana practices. So that is fine. So my only is that whenever a word is to be used, it is to be used considering that is is the native practitioner using something like that? Okay, we can say Tantra-like practices are there.
Okay, for this podcast, let's call it occult practices.
Occult practices, yes. It's a very integral part of Tantra. And there is one very important practical distinction that comes in over time between sort of the standard religion, what we understand, and Tantra, and that goes for all places where this has happened, which is so because of the prominence of Shakti upasana. Mind you, Tantra can be there in Hinduism, for example, can be. So there are tantric pujas, mantras, etc. even for Lord Rama. It was a completely Vaishnava deity. And there are mantras for his, for the weapons he holds. For Krishna, there are specific mantras, etc. One of the most popular mantras of Krishna comes from the Tantra, by the way. Okay.
Which is?
I will not mention the mantra, but it's an 18 akshari. Everybody, all Vaishnavas know it, by the way. I'm sure.
Hare Krishna?
No, that's not. That is the one that was given to everybody to chant. You don't need specific things, but there is a specific mantra of Gopala form of Krishna, which is beautiful. If you do the sadhana of it, I've done it once. It's wonderful. The right way, if it is correctly done, you will start having certain experiences of the deity. So Tantra is a way of approaching a devata. Tantra is not a standalone. Along with it, there is mantra sadhana, there is yantra, and of course, there is an overarching philosophical aspect of it. Tantra also, on a practical aspect, Tantra looks, as I said, it looks at the surroundings. Okay, it's the belief is that the mother, which we call Mahashakti, she has created this world. So she is the one who has come here and formed everything. But while forming, she has sort of curtailed her own powers to this level that there is almost everywhere there's ignorance. So you don't know who is God, you don't know who you are, you don't know nothing. But this you is also her, but in a constricted manner. You, as an individual, you have the not going very deep into the philosophy, but as an individual, as a sadhak, your job is how do I unfold this? And this will happen through two ways. One, your effort and blessings from the devata.
It's a way of saying your body, mind and soul are capable of evolution.
Yes.
It's already inside you. The potential, that software is already inside you.
Correct.
Are you willing to put in effort and
right,
belief and emotion into
right,
unlocking your true potential?
Right.
Okay.
And that is why, for example, as we were discussing, the great masters from Kashmir, one of their philosophical terms they used was that the final stage is recognition of Shiva, recognizing that you are Shiva. So you are not discovering, you are recognizing.
Through unlocking your own Shakti.
Yes, through the practices, because Shakti is the gulf between that and she is the one who has come down. Okay, she is the one who has created everything. Now, it is important to understand this because there is a difference from another religious view where there is a divine or a god or whatever creator, whatever you believe, who is outside of the system. That is not part of Tantra. Tantra doesn't look at it that way. Yeah, we believe that there is a mother who is immanent. Immanent means embedded inside, who is also transcendent, is outside. Both are equally true. And our job is we start with the immanent and slowly move upwards through sadhana.
So at the end of your sadhana, not at the end, when you reach a certain point of progress,
yeah,
your Kundalini awakens.
Yes, Kundalini awakens, yes, that is still there. That will happen.
And this is what you're trying to say in terms of you unlock your own Shakti.
Yes. What I'm trying to say is that Tantra starts with... So Shakti Upasana is like this. This is something I read in a very nice commentary on a book on Tantra in Bengal. Bengal has some of the finest books on Tantra, perhaps, because the practice has been going on for a long time. Okay, commentary I was reading. So the gentleman writes a fantastic, beautiful paragraph, the commentator. So he says that Shakti Upasana's beauty is that once you start Shakti Upasana, your experiences will start very fast because Shakti is here. Without Shakti, you can't even sit in the chair. Shakti is everything, is energy. It's movement. Okay? Force that is causing you to move. Everything, your thoughts are moving. The earth is moving. Everything is moving because of something, the force that is creating this movement. That is Shakti. Okay? Ishvara, on the other hand, is more transcendental. He is at a very high stage. He is not going to come down so easily. A general perception. There may be some philosophies which believe slightly differently, but not going to so much nuance at the moment. But so Ishvara is more transcendental aspect. Okay?
The supreme.
So this is also supreme. It's your understanding that is not seeing it as supreme. Okay, this is supreme, that is supreme. It is not that is only supreme. that it's just two flavors of a reality. Divinity. Okay. One is transcendental flavor and one is immanent. Immanent means it has embedded itself into the universe. Okay. It is there in everything, but you can't see it. But then you can't see the transcendental also. Okay. So transcendental, you have to lift yourself up to that realm and may get an experience, and there is anugraha that comes, grace that comes from the transcendental divine. Okay. Because of this, there are not just parts of Hindu philosophy, there are other religions which function in the same model. There is a creator outside and who's doing something and is sending guiding a religion or guiding humanity. Okay. Tantra doesn't start from there. It starts from here. Finding the divinity that is inherent inside the earth, inside creation. So Tantra does not believe in Maya. Tantra says Maya is a play of Shiva, a play of Shakti. This world is real. It is not a figment of your imagination. It is not a dream. It is not a delusion. No, it is absolutely real. It causes a certain amount of attachment to you. You have certain attachments, and that gives you a lack of clarity, lack of objectivity. Slowly through sadhana, you peel off all the things that are obstructing your consciousness, chains that bind your consciousness. You slowly start becoming free. Okay, so this is more or less the idea. So Tantra sadhana, coming to the point from where we started, so a practice that may have been prevalent perhaps in ancient Egypt or, as you mentioned, Africa, other places. So when you see something that takes into account the organic environment in which it is happening and elements from that environment and use elements from the environment, that is very much Tantra-like. On the other hand, if you believe that no, all this is whatever is there around me in the physical plane is all ignorance or wrong, and there is a creator who is outside and above, etc., and I only do worship of that creator, that is not Tantra.
Got it. Okay. There are tribes present in India today as well.
Okay.
In like the deep forests. They also engage in a format of Tantra?
You can call that. Tantra is very vast. So as we had while the central idea of Tantra is to worship the devatas in a very real manner, there is also darker aspects also involved in it. So yes, there are tribes who practice Tantra. Tantra is very similar to even the folk religions. That you can call them various folk religions that are there are also highly influenced by Tantra, or that's a form of Tantra. Folk Tantra, you can call it, something like that. Something that starts with an organic understanding of your environment. Your place, Desh, Kal becomes very important. What is the place? What is the time? A tantric ritual when is to be performed. One of the things, most key ingredients is that what is the time? Time means, as we were discussing, devatas have their own tithis and all that. So if you have to worship Ma Kaali, for example, Amavasya is a very good time. Amavasya is new moon is ideal for her. Okay. So for some other deity, it could be something else. So time becomes crucial. Ingredients become crucial. Ingredients means what is it that you have to offer to her? What is it that she likes? Okay. What are the things that a specific deity needs? What are the mudras that they need? Okay, what is the mudra that she likes? What is the mudra that somebody else likes, etc.? So various things.
Mudra is a formation of your fingers and hands?
Gesture, a kind of. Okay. So like that. Various mudras are there. So one mudra is to offer something to the deity. One mudra is to invoke the deity. Okay. And as you keep practicing, it will resonate with certain things, changes that will occur inside you. So there is not going to be a difference. The moment you do the mudra, immediately inside you will see a specific type of vibration that is happening, and you know that there is a connection that is being formed.
Okay. You know that one of the stereotypes with Bengalis is that there's two stereotypes. The first one is that they're very good looking, and the second stereotype is that there has been a lot of tantric practice in Bengal.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been tantric practices all over India, but it's just survived in Bengal.
You can call it that way, yes.
What do Bengalis know that the rest of India doesn't know? Do you guys have this kind of conversation more often? Like, is it more free-flowing?
In some, depends. Not all places, but yeah, in some places in Bengal, there is a more organic acceptance of Tantra, which is not there outside of Bengal in many places. So the word Tantra automatically evokes fear or mixture of, that thing. But not necessarily, because one of the other reasons is that Ma Kaali is so widely worshipped in Bengal. She is like one of the Adhishtatri Devis. Adhishtatri means one of the goddesses of that geographical location. Okay, let's put it that way. So obviously, if you have devotion to Kaali, Ma Kaali, eventually somewhere or the other, the concept of tantras will start appearing in your life.
Wow.
There's no question. That is her path. It is Shakti who has created this path and who loves this path. So obviously, if you are, especially Kaali, Ma Kaali, if you worship, if you keep worshipping, eventually on your own there will be certain transformative changes towards, I'm not saying you'll knowledgeable in Tantra, that depends on a lot of other factors, but your mind will become more open towards acceptance that this is a valid path.
So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to TRS Clips for more.